Welcome to another episode of Drunk Minds, Sober Thoughts. I'm one of your hosts, Rob.
And it's your boy Zay. Don't play in the building.
What's good?
What's good, bro?
You know,
So, oh my
we're
bad, my bad for cutting you off.
see, ready to jump ship. Go ahead. What's going on?
Yeah. So I had an interesting week. Um, if I can be very transparent with you and everybody else out there. Last week was this past week was pretty tough for me. Um, my grandmother passed away, and we had her funeral, and so that was honestly, we lost our matriarch, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
of my family. And I and it's crazy because I you believe in signs, like everything is connected in some way. And I saw that this past weekend.
Okay.
Um I saw that in my grandmother's address. So, which is the crazy part about it, I kept seeing her address everywhere I went, whether it was when I went put gas in my mom's car or when I got food. And the last thing of all, my plane ticket back to Jacksonville was her address.
Mm.
And to me, it was all connected as if she was letting me know that she's here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. You don't have to be sad. I'm right next to you wherever you go.
Mm.
And just hearing everybody talk about her and seeing the amount of people who showed up for her
Yeah.
showed the impact that she had on the entire community.
Yeah. That was a beautiful funeral, and I
Yeah.
don't even want to call it a funeral because it wasn't like, to me, being in that building, it didn't feel like sadness because so many people said some great stuff about her.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, like, the amount of impact that
Yeah.
she had, it was unbelievable. And you would think, like, okay, when you go to a funeral, like, definitely, you hear a lot of people crying, you hear a lot of this, and it almost felt like it was really just a celebration.
You took the words right out of my mouth. You took the exact words right out of my mouth. And just to hear everybody laugh, like literally laughter the entire time,
Yeah.
during the whole thing, and how some people, the stories were just stuff that I never knew.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot. And to be honest with you, those stories, as much as I knew about my grandmother, I didn't know a lot about my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even when I was talking to my cousins, it's like, dude, we didn't know this about her at all. And we were kids, you know, around the time, but it was like we didn't take advantage of the opportunities to pick her brain.
Okay.
So finding out that, oh, your grandmother had X, Y, and Z properties or was doing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, what? She was? I didn't know about that. And it made me question myself, like, did I not know, or did I like to take the time to talk to her and find out?
Yeah.
And it was like she literally had the blueprint, for us, but nobody took the time out to look at it or read it.
Mm.
So it's like the opportunities that she could have given to any of us, we didn't take because we didn't take the time to come to her and ask her simple questions. Now, don't get me wrong, that lady just loved to talk, especially about genealogy, as you heard, and just being a teacher in general. It was like she was always willing to teach somebody if you were willing to listen.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, did I listen enough, or did I take the time out to listen?
Mm.
You know, so, but it was an amazing, I'm going to use the same words you, celebration of her
Mm.
life.
Yeah.
And I remember you said this, and even Tex Kate was like, when they were talking about her, you said like the sun came in and the
Yeah.
light came in.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. I'm, focused on what's being said, and it was like, dang, that's
Yeah.
that's crazy. But it was really beautiful, and it was like with family as well. Like, why are we only gathering for situations like this? Why are we not, coming together? Because it was a fun time, but it's like, why did we have this situation have to come about for us to be together as well?
Yeah. I think it's because where I was in the balcony looking
Mm-hmm.
down at you and the family. And when I text Katia that, you know me, I'm very observant.
Yeah.
Like I I connect to the energy in the room. I connect to, like, I look around and I feel like it was so funny because at the moment of when like people started to go up and talk about her, on the left side it was real dark. The
Mm-hmm.
windows were like it was cloudy. To give y'all a visual, it was snowing, it was very cloudy, it was cold,
It
like
was.
it was windy, it was a lot going on. And at the moment that I text Katia, I noticed that like people was telling like their own personal experience of how she impacted them. And in that moment, the sun just got really bright on the right hand side. And I'm like, that's weird because on the other side it's dark as hell.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was an energy that came over me and was like a presence that was already in the room. Like it's kind of made it seem like she was shining light
Mm-hmm.
into what was going on. And I was
Yeah.
just like I was so focused on that. I'm just like, well, why isn't the sun shining on the other side? Like I was trying to really focus, but I was like, it was like, Rob, like I really believe. And then the sun went away.
Wow.
It
See,
went
look,
back
I didn't
cloudy.
even
And I was
notice that.
like, I'm literally like, okay, now I ain't tripping. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it was timing or whatever, but I also saw Cartier having a moment.
Yeah.
And I really felt like maybe that was God using me to bring some type of happiness to her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because it looked like she was having a moment. And me and her was texting anyway. So it was just like, oh, okay, like, let me share this with you because I feel like this is a beautiful moment, you
Yeah.
know. Um, I think the interesting thing about what you said was like we are so ignorant to think that we got so much time on this earth.
Yeah.
Like we really think that we just know everything. Like we got all the answers. And me and you having this dialogue outside of these mics, it was kind of like it made me think about my grandmother, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and how it was like, man, I need to step up and have my moments with her, you
Yeah.
know, and just with my family in general. Like, bro, there it's just so much hurt, I believe. When I feel like when there's trauma and
Yeah.
um when there's a lot of stuff going on, it just separates the whole family,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the focus.
Oh
Like
yeah.
everybody got a pride, everybody, like nobody cares about, like, we are in our last days.
I would definitely agree.
Like, and it really made me think, like, I don't wanna go out with no shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like that, what you just expressed is, dang, like, I wish we had more time. I wish we got it.
absolutely.
But I also think, what we talked about yesterday, it's a beautiful thing that the time that you did spend with her, she actually utilized that time and actually taught you something.
Yeah.
There are people that we spending so much time with and they are not of value. Or it's like they not teaching us nothing. Like, but I also understand like your perspective on that end because when I lost my aunt, to this day, I'm not going.
Take your time.
Part of me regret. Part of me wish that I had the understanding that I have now.
Yeah.
My aunt, being the person that she was, she to me, I felt that she was our matriarch.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt, she was a Gemini, and I know a lot of people ain't into signs, but my aunt, I felt like the way that people describe, I grew up believing how Gemini's was. My aunt was that. Like she had two sides to her. Like one minute she was the chef of the family, so she'll feed you,
Oh,
but she'll
yes.
check you in the same sentence. She'll be like, "Don't walk in my house and not speak." You know what I'm saying? You'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm sorry." Now you afraid of her. And then she'd be like, "Take off your shoes, go and get you a plate." And be like, "Wait, what? Like,
You just confused me.
what? You sure? You sure I should be eating this shit?" Like, but that's how she was,
Yeah.
and a lot of us grew up thinking that, if I may be honest, like she's mean, she's disrespectful, right?
Yeah.
But and I believed that for a long time. I was caught up in my feelings, but I wasn't focused on what was going on.
Yeah.
Like I was just in my feelings as a kid. Like I don't want to be around her. She's mean, right? But then when growing up, like you get to see things through a different lens. My aunt had two different types of cancers
Wow.
that she was battling,
Jesus. Mm.
and to watch her body go through the different phases, I didn't see that. I saw that she was a Gemini and she was mean and she was very direct. As
Yeah.
a kid, I was just in my feelings, right?
Because you're a kid and you're not
Because
really
I'm a
fully
kid.
understanding.
And I'm also going through my own stuff that I'm trying to figure out. But as a
Yeah.
kid, I didn't know how to figure it out.
Yeah.
It wasn't until my aunt's last moments where I was just like, bro, like, and it hurts to say this, but I never once considered how much she was hurting.
Wow.
Not saying that that's an excuse
Mm-hmm.
for her coming off, but one thing that she taught me was when you walk into somebody else's house, they deserve deserve the respect of you acknowledging that I entered your home.
Mm. Oh,
Hello, how are
yeah.
you? That's a value that she did not bend at all.
You're gonna respect everyone around you.
You
Yep.
gonna respect the room. She used to have this rule that if we take a pop out the refrigerator, you better put one in. That taught me not to be selfish. But I'm like, gee, like she just going off. But it was like, no, don't be selfish.
Yeah.
Like, and there was so many other things that I didn't get it until she was gone. And then I struggle with this all the time that I was like, man, I wish I had more time. I wish I understood what was going on.
Yeah.
But a lot of us need to get out our feelings. Like a lot of us is really in our feelings, and feelings ain't always fact.
Okay. Okay. Break that down
So
for me a little bit. Feelings aren't
so
always fact.
so sometimes for me,
Yeah.
like what I'm learning now is if people I used to feel like if people don't talk to me this way, that means they don't love me. That's not true. People just have a different way of communicating. I just don't. I don't like it, but that doesn't mean that this mean that.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? They just have a certain way of how they do things, but that don't mean that they don't love you.
Yeah.
They just love you in the way that they love you. It just be like, okay, well, that's not how I receive it.
Yeah.
So I always say we speak two different languages, but that don't mean that they don't love you.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I never knew that. Like my aunt way of teaching was aggressive
Yeah.
to me. Like it was like she just mean. But I also have to understand like that's just her way of communicating.
Mm.
And I hate to say it, like I get it now.
That's what
I didn't like it,
oh,
but I got it now. Like
Jesus.
I wish
Yeah.
that we could have
Jesus.
communicated in a different way, but I get it now. And I'm like, she's gone now, and I can't tell her I'm sorry. I'm sorry for, but it's like I really like so many times now as an adult, I feel like I hear her say, "You have nothing to apologize to me for. You were a kid. How could you know? Like, how could you know?" But I'm just like, I think that that's also my way of saying I just wish I had more time.
Yeah.
Because with this mind that I have now, I wouldn't have took you for granted.
Yeah. It's so crazy because when you said the values, and I told you this, we talked about this on the phone, and my cousin mentioned this for my grandmother was a person is you gonna speak correctly.
Yeah.
We're not gonna use quote unquote slang when you talk to me. I'm gonna
Yeah.
correct you. It's not ain't, it's isn't or aren't or gonna, it's going to. But me just thinking like it's she just being on you. She's preparing you to talk to people out in this world.
Yeah.
She's preparing you for this. And I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
One thing my mother always made sure is that whenever you come in town, or this is with any of us, you go see your grandmother.
Yeah.
You see if she needs anything, and sometimes she didn't even need to see nothing. She just wanted to see your face.
Yeah.
And when I got there, you always ask, "Grandma, you need me to take out the trash? You need me to do this?" No, it's already no. I don't need you to do. I just wanted to see you. And in my opinion, and I feel like we lost the remaining of the glue in my family. My grandfather, before he passed, he was like a typical granddad, big belly. His love language was food, so he cooked every Sunday. He would cook a whole bunch of food, and if anybody was in the family was invited, but you had to check all that stuff at the door.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and my grandmother, when he passed, my grandmother was the same way. I'm cooking,
but check it at the door.
But check it at the door. This is gonna be a house of love. I don't care how you feel about each other outside of this place, but when you're in this house, you're gonna treat everybody with respect, and you're gonna love one another. And she showed up for everybody, bro. Regardless of health.
Yeah.
She showed up to Kati and Kayla's graduation, all of my cousins, everybody's graduation. She made it a point to be there because she was an educator and she harped on education. And the crazy part about it is that I told you this before she passed, and she's a very private person, so we didn't know a lot. She kept it to herself. And I was kind of angry about that. It was her, but in some ways, I kind of have that trait of her. It's just, I don't want nobody to worry, so I'm going to keep it to myself. But I told you I felt like God kept her alive for me to see her one last time. I truly felt like that. And just to sit with her and talk to her about just my day just made me realize that, like you said, time is so short, bro. We
It
don't
is.
have long. And a lot of the bullshit doesn't even matter
It really
in
doesn't.
some ways. We just hold on to shit to hold on to shit.
And we really in our feelings, and
And,
we didn't even look at things in full.
and we don't see it till it's too late. And that's the biggest thing.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
How do you think this is going to impact the family?
Whew. A lot. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to say a 7. 1 being snot and 10 meaning drastically. Like, she was someone you could come to about anything. And she taught so much and opened so many doors for so many people, even in the family. I mean, even outside the family. And it's like, bro, when the glue is gone from holding up something, all that is resting on is hopes and prayers.
Yeah.
Once one small thing and it tips over, everything collapses.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are we going to reglue this thing back together? How are we going to keep this thing from falling? How are we going to keep this thing secure so that the foundation is sturdy enough for to stand on?
Are you willing to do your part? And I'm not saying, like, I'm saying whatever it takes. Do you think that you have the will to do your part in trying to be a part of the glue that you call it?
I think I am, because I saw it over the weekend. It's so, and the funny part about it, when all my cousins and everybody came in, and you're going to agree with me when I say this. So the matriarch of my generation, my cousins, my little cousins, my siblings, would be Kayla.
Okay.
And the crazy part about it is, without even knowing, I was kind of the patriarch, because everybody came to me, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing this? We're doing that. Isaiah, we're not voting. We can't vote without you. So what are we going to do this? Are we going to go here? And everybody can go. So we're not going to go. But I think
I love
setting
Kayla.
that's literally, and people were looking at me and Kayla like, so what are we doing? And I think that it starts with us, that generation, to keep it going. My grandmother did her part, you know, and my mom's generation did their part as well, part of the family. So now it's our turn to step up and take the reins of the family. Now, I'm not saying that we're prepared to take on everything, but position ourselves.
Yeah.
So when it's our time, I'm not trying to say the transition smooth, because there will, but it'll be easier to step into that, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it's all about making sure that, and being reaching out, and always making sure that we're not just getting together when something bad happens, or we're not reaching out when something crazy happens, but we're reaching out. How's your day? How's your family? How's my little cousin? Just the small things that we a lot of times take for granted. And I think those are the tools that can be used to, in words, secure the foundation. Because we're literally standing on their shoulders right now. And it's all about us taking the next step.
if unfortunately, so, and I hope this help, but my family, I have a big family, but my
Mhm.
immediate family, like, it's a lot of us.
Yeah.
It's a lot of us. My mom had 7 sisters and 1 brother.
Wow.
So the unfortunate part is, like, because they were tough,
Mm-hmm.
I personally, in my opinion, I don't feel like they dealt with my aunt's passing.
Wow.
They just did the tough role and just moved on with life.
Mm.
But everybody moved individually. It wasn't like no togetherness. Like, it was
Wow.
like, if I deal with it, I'm gonna deal with it alone. I'm not gonna lean on you. I can't show you. And to be very honest, I hate the fact that it made them not even want to show each other that side of emotion. It was like, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. And to be very honest, I got to a point where I don't know why, um or how I became this person, but my aunt died in '03. I was a freshman, but I felt like my eyes opened up very differently. Like, my aunt, like, we used to come together for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving was over. Like, we had been, like, literally coming together in one room for Thanksgiving up to my freshman year.
Wow.
Bro, we have not, my aunt passed in '03. We have not been in the same room since '03.
Jesus.
Like, I can't get my family in one room. And what's so crazy is, like, I've even tried myself. Like, it blows my mind how I'm like, y'all, we should do this, we should do that, and they like, look, we just gonna all cook at our own house, and I'm like, that's not what we do.
Yeah.
So I started to understand, like, she, like, her passing broke everybody.
Ooh.
Like, it broke everybody into pieces. Like, she made sure, no. Like, our last Thanksgiving, she cooked
Yeah.
everything. Now, we used to all, like, I come from cooks.
Yeah.
Everybody would cook a dish and
And then
bring
bring
it
it.
to my uncle's house.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was over. But my aunt's last Thanksgiving, she was like, y'all don't have to cook. And I don't know why
Wow.
that became a thing. She was like, I'm going to cook everything. Like, when I say everything, everything that we had, that all of them cooked, she
She
did.
made.
She made everything. She did the job for 7 people. And what blows my mind is, we knew that that was her last Thanksgiving.
Mm. Oh Jesus. Ooh.
We knew at that time, she was so sick. She had lost so much weight.
Mm. That's the worst part about it. Oh.
It was hard, and it's so crazy because visually, like, I don't know, like, as a kid, I didn't know what I was looking at. I didn't know what I was looking at, but looking back, it hurts me specifically because I'm used to a certain type of environment.
Yeah.
This is the time that I'm seeing my family laugh, crack up. Like, my aunts were steppers. They used to switch each other. One would spin the other one,
Yep.
and then the other
Yep.
one would come in. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm used to. So when I don't, I'm spoiled. So it's like, if I don't get that, this ain't right. Like, what you mean? We not having Thanksgiving at the house? We not having it at the big house? What you mean? Everybody just slowly, and then the family started to break even more. It became more problems within the family. And I'm like, gee, like, and to be very honest, we never got back.
Do you, let me ask you a question. Do you think that the passing of her caused your aunts and your uncle it kind of took their vulnerability away from them when she passed. Like they didn't want to show nobody, not even each other.
I don't know. To be very honest, I don't know. I think because she did so much, like we valued her because one, we had to,
She wasn't
but
going for that.
she wasn't going. Like she didn't take no bullshit at all. But I also think that I don't know. She just had this personality. She had this spunk.
Yeah.
Like when you got on her good side, it felt like everybody can get here. I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think I don't know. It just sucks that in her last moments, um, I remember me and her had an incident where I felt like she was taking her son's side, and I remember I was like, I'm never coming back here. I'm never coming back here. I hate her. I literally said that, I said the words, and I remember before we were arranging that I never go back over there because I was young, but I was stern. Like I'm never
Yeah.
going back there. We had to rush her to the hospital, and I remember my cousin went somewhere, and she grabbed my hand and she said, "I know you love me, and I know you mad at me."
Uh,
I was like, "What the fuck?"
mm,
But the way she held my hand was like, "Just thank you for being here," like kind of. And I think that that's when I'm like, "What is going on?" Like I don't
like you
understand.
felt it. Like you
I
really felt
felt
it.
like something was about to go down because my aunt was tough. She don't apologize for shit.
So to hear that was like, what's going on?
Like I felt like in her last moments, I saw the human.
Ooh, Jesus.
And I think that's the problem. That's the problem. Like we wait to the last moments to show or to accept the human side. So if I could give you any advice, those moments that you and your family had, bro, please don't take that shit for granted. Like to be very honest, my family is suffering.
Mm,
And the more that people separate, it just becomes normal. Out of sight, out of mind is a real thing. And
it
I
really is.
like my family, like how mom say, we weren't raised like that. We was raised tough, but we wasn't raised to give up on each other. And I feel like a lot of us gave up.
Wow.
And I don't want to say that there's no coming back, but I feel like it's just repetition. You know what I'm saying? So if you could be the one, if you
Yeah.
could be the one, try. I know I did. I know I tried. I remember my cousin said, "Rob, you just care too much, bro. You just care too much. Let it go." And I was like, "No,
Wow.
like I want to save my fucking family. Like, what do you mean? Why you don't care?" And I didn't understand, but people sometimes like I had to realize he lost his mom. I lost my matriarch. He lost his mother.
Yep.
That's something that you would never understand, my G. Like he was like, "I'm done." The most important person, and maybe that's how they feel. The most important person is gone. I'm done. And even though you don't want this,
I have
gee,
nothing left.
gee, it's crazy. We got to do better.
We do.
We we got to do better. But I think, like I said, it's a beautiful thing that with the time that your grandmother had here, gee, what
She
I heard, gee, she did her job.
she touched so many people, bro. I
She
have
did her job.
never seen a church literally packed. People, when I say packed to capacity, like people were referring to her as a founding member of this community, not just a founding member of the community.
Yeah.
And the funny, like, that day was so funny too, because even though it was cold outside, it was, mind you,
It was very cold.
I came back into a snowstorm. I wasn't expecting it to storm.
Gee, it was cold.
But my grandmother keeps hats, scarves, and gloves like any grandmother would. But she keeps them by the bins to make sure. Oh, and house shoes. If you come in her house, you got to take your shoes off or get some house shoes. But I could hear her say, you got a scarf, you got your hat, you got your gloves. You know, I was thinking about you when I was at Ross, and I got you these gloves. They're really good. They're really, really good. And just to know, like, her job was done.
Yeah.
She didn't leave no stone unturned. Was the most, like, she could say she lived a full life. A full life. I gave everything I had while I was on this earth. I gave it all. Was one of the most profound things I can imagine. A woman who lived 81 years and affected an entire community while she was here. While she was here. And know that her legacy lives on. And each and every person that was in there, each and every person has a piece of her. Like, what more can we ask for?
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. She built a community.
Literally, bro. Like, literally.
That's important, man. For your community to be tight but healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
See, your family is dope. Like, y'all actually like each other.
Sometimes. Sometimes,
I mean, granted, all family has their ish. But I mean, to see how y'all was interacting with each other, I was like, man, that's dope. That's really dope.
Dude, I am, like, being with my cousins. See, we were at Kayla's house, and all of us being together, and you know, and all the older people being in the basement, you know, having fun. And it just made me think that's gonna be us one day. And our kids, our little cousins, are gonna be upstairs having fun with each other, and we're gonna be down here acting a fool. In your words, Rob, acting a fool.
Goddamn fool.
But it just put a lot of things in perspective for me. All it takes is one.
Yep, that's true.
All it takes is one to lead us down the path, and hopefully everybody takes from that and walks the path that the person laid before you. Like I said, my family, we have our fights.
Of course,
we don't like each other all the time. But one thing I will say is that we're close.
Yeah,
like, we're really close, and that wasn't built overnight. But it's a beautiful thing to see one person touch a lot of people. It really was. And like I said, I thank God for that. Because as much as a child, bro, and we say, I hate doing this, I don't want to do this, it all means something in the grand scheme. We just don't see it.
Yeah.
And I remember you asked me, like, were you just in the mind of a child? And did you have a mind of a child back then, or did you still do at the time when you got older? I remember we had that discussion off here. And I was like, dude, I think I still had that mindset.
As an adult. That you have the mindset of a child, is what you're saying.
Yes, when and I'll explain that to the listeners. I was saying that I didn't really care to listen because I'm a kid, just being a kid. But I think that when I became an adult, I still
Operated
so
like that.
it operated in that capacity till it was too late.
Damn.
And that's one thing I can't get back.
It's so interesting because that makes me think about like I think it's dope that when you find people that actually is willing to go and teach you, like
Yeah,
that's so vital. Like you can't take that shit for granted. Like just to have somebody in your corner that's willing to like be there for you. They're not gonna always be there, but just the moments that they gonna be there for you, they gonna ride for you. Like even before you got to this situation, the fact of how your grandmother just kept coming through.
yeah,
My grandmother offered this, my grandmother offered that. Like that's a blessing, man. To have somebody to look over you and just be like, I thought about you here. I bought this for you.
absolutely,
I bought this for
absolutely.
you. I got this for you.
And
I thought about you.
you know what she say? Well, I'm glad. And she was so humble about it. I'm just, thankful I'm in the position that I am.
So
And
that's
me
my
not
favorite
think,
line.
yeah. And me not, bro, like literally those were her words. And dang, it's crazy thinking about that because you say that too. Um,
I would have loved to meet her.
dude, and for her and me not thinking like, how'd you put yourself in that position? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
And she was
And
willing to teach you.
exactly. If you just ask the question and me not asking those questions,
If you were just
it's
open to receiving.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. It's like, how did you put yourself in this position? And the crazy part about it, I'm learning more about her after she's gone.
That's the hard
And
part.
that's the thing that hurts me more than anything.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
hard
like, oh
part.
yeah, she learned on her own, but she talked to people who taught her this and opened her mind to this and then these things and it's like yeah she also helped this person and this person with the same thing and it's like all it would have took is for me to sit down or even pick up a phone and I feel in some ways I feel like she was waiting for one of us to ask these questions but we never did. I'm trying to give you the blueprint if you just ask,
Just call me back.
just listen. When you stop by, just sit down and talk. When we talk, when we sit down. But I want you, there's a question you're not asking that I want you to ask. I don't want to force you. I want you to want to.
Yeah.
I want you to want to learn. I want you to ask me, how did you pay for this house? Or how did you get this other place? Or how did you do this? I'm waiting for you to ask. All you have to do is that. But being oblivious to the opportunity that's before you is just, you know,
Have you always been aware that your grandmother had a lot of different tools?
no.
But
Honest,
you knew she had real estate and you knew that
I didn't. All I knew was about two of them.
you knew about
The
two.
main two.
Yeah.
I didn't know she had more.
Yeah.
So but it never clicked in me to ask, like, how did you do that?
Is that something that you wish that you would have been interested in?
Absolutely, because my grandmother was in a position where she didn't need for nothing. She was straight after she retired. She taught for over 40. Was it 30 or 40?
Well, that lady said
30.
that she was a teacher for 30 years, and
Yeah.
she said that she knew your grandmother when she first walked in, so that was already 30 years.
So it had to be about 40 years. That's the thing. So it's like it just begs the question, like, why didn't you? Or why were you so like I heard about that. Like I would have been I think I feel and I'm just like, see, I feel as though all it took for because think about this, bro. I'm gonna backtrack to that in a second, but what happened when I actually did take her advice?
Right. Yeah.
Things opened for me that I was struggling with, bro. A whole nother path opened for me when I decided, even though it was like I felt like in that point I'm like, oh, you're nagging, I'll just do it. But in doing that, my life expanded in a way. So it's like I feel as though if I would have taken that opportunity, who knows what would happen? Could have happened for me.
Hmm.
That yeah. So it's like
So what do you think it is? Do you think that you're just not in a mindset, or like you don't like what do you feel like it is?
um if I'm gonna be very transparent about it, I think the reason why was because I didn't know how to get in my own way. And I tried to do a lot of stuff my way until, it got so bad. Then I would ask for help. I was taught a lot of figure it out. So, and in a lot of ways, that kind of put me in that mind state of I'm gonna figure it out. If it gets too much, then I guess I'll ask. And I think that, and I had to be open to listening. I think a lot of it was me hearing what I wanted to hear. But if I actually opened my ears and listened, things could have been different. Or things may have been different. But I would have to want that change for myself. I would have to want that. And instead of somebody wanting that for me. Yeah. Mm.
I think the best thing that you could do is just hold on to what you know. Hold on to the moments that you did have with her,
Yeah.
and be thankful that you actually have those moments, and there were a lot.
Absolutely.
So, and just hopefully she passed it on to somebody else where you still could get the information.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you learned a lot. I mean, just in this situation, it's good that you learned that, you learn what to do,
Yeah.
and that when you actually communicate and share the things that you know with somebody else, it can be impactful. To be very honest,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're focused on something that you can't control, in the sense of you're like, oh man, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I think that you're pointing your energy. I think it's cool to acknowledge how you feel, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you could point the energy in a different way. Like, my grandmother did this. Like, I come from that cloth where my grandmother made me feel like she could do anything.
Mm.
Like, I feel like you need to celebrate the fact of where you come from. Celebrate the fact of what you do have from her.
Yeah.
You could give it to Grayson. You could give it to me. You could give it to mom. You could give it to anybody. Like, you can't get time back. but you did have time
Mm.
with her. Like, you could celebrate. Like, her legacy don't have to stop there. If it matters to you, take the things that resonate with you and use it and apply it. But actually move forward with it. Don't let this be a moment where it's just be like, oh, it just happened. I'm just, and then you get stuck there. No, what you gonna do with it? And that doesn't mean compare your path to hers.
Yeah.
Just because she a teacher don't mean that you need to be a teacher. Teaching don't mean in the same form that she did. Telling your experience could be a teaching lesson. Helping somebody out, whether it's, hey, let me give you $1, a homeless person $1.
Yeah.
She gave back, you gave back. Understanding the value. You don't have to. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm also saying that you could point your energy in a different way. You could really celebrate her. And sometimes when it hurts, feel that. Allow yourself to feel, but also celebrate. Like you say, your grandmother lived 81 years, and you said that she touched a lot of people and she lived a good life. What is there to cry about? I'm not saying in a sense like you can't cry,
Yeah.
but what is there to cry about? The lesson in that is that she did her part while she was here. Do your part, whatever that looks like, while you here. She taught me in that moment of listening is that I'm on the right path. The things that I know that I learned, I try to, I push it on the people.
Yeah.
I want you to know what I know. I'm not one of those people that be like, oh, no, it's only me. I'm the only person that can get money in this. No, that's not me. That's not me. I want everybody, and I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. I'm not just gonna give you the tools. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna damn near enable you. One thing that keeps popping in my head was because my aunt was the person that she did. The quote that we put on her tombstone was, "Let the work I've done speak for me."
That's powerful.
And I think that we can apply that to your grandmother. Let the work that she's done speak for her. And that ain't nothing to cry about. That's something to celebrate.
And on that powerful quote, we thank you for hanging with us. Please like, comment, and subscribe on Spotify and on YouTube. Let us know what you guys think. Until then, we are out.
Peace.